The biggest anesthesia on earth is ideology. There are somebody that came to fight you through spoken words. You can use your spoken words to neutralize his ability to fight you. So human being mind is a collection of how the inflow of knowledge available to them, how they reason. And so what they did in the anesthesia, is to program the mind of the people to accept death, to accept that the things they have no value, that there is something actually precious elsewhere beyond what they have, that there's another place precious beyond this place we found ourselves.
So the Igbo man was never afraid of death?
No, an Igbo man is never afraid of death. Neither did an Igbo man want to be killed. There is difference that we are living a normal life. As I'm sitting here, I'm not afraid of death. But at the same time, I don't want anybody to come here with knife and cut off my head. Okay. So if you are giving me an ideology which is built on my early extermination, my early going to grave, that is where the issue becomes. The issue is not that we know that the reason why we are alive is because somebody died yesterday night. If people don't die, people won't live. It's like eating and shitting. If you don't shit, you won't eat. And if you don't eat, you won't shit. That is it.
For some of you that are wondering why we're speaking English, is to tell you that this very show is not limited to only Igbos, because some of you maybe say, I want to come to BAM, but I don't know how to speak Igbo. You see how it's flowing, because we're now going beyond just Igbos. It's just that we're proud of our very own. So if you're comfortable with speaking Igbo, we bring you here. What I go, you hear this, some of people gonna ikrigi, gonna say, I'm this guy na the Christian. So let's link what people know about you with your background.
Okay.
You were Christian. Tell us about your Christian background. Then go in the point where you just told yourself that, what am I even doing here?
Okay, you want me to tell you about my Christianity experience and what actually led to the vision of Christianity?
Yes.
Okay, I was born into a Methodist church family. Oh. I grew up as a Methodist, and that's why most times if you watch my videos, you discover anytime I'm singing, I sing hymn book, because Methodist church makes use of hymn book. And so while I was growing, I come into experiential knowledge of what is called the love of God. And most of the times as we are growing, there are many things we got to a point that if the passion of the hunger of God is too much, we even formed praying house ministry, going to house to pray. There was a time I joined FECA. There was a time I started following this young man they called Apostle Joshua Selman. That's a guy I made my icon for over 8 years of my life. And then these had people that inspired me. They came to a point I began to follow another man called Michael Orokpo. The same thing, it was so diverse. But while I was doing that, there is an instinct in man, there is a voice in man that always contemplates. When you sit down alone, you begin to contemplate the things that you are doing. Judge you. I discovered there is a lack of peace in my heart and in my conscience. So I begin to verify, we can be defending error. We can be defending error with all at the sincerity of our heart. And because we are sincere, we not make error to be right. Because we are sincere, we not make right to be wrong. So when I come to the point of self-realization is when I begin to push for a new African Renaissance. And that is where I begin to make teachings against Christianity. I did not begin to teach against Christianity because of fame. I did not begin to teach against Christianity because I want to gain popularity or because I just want to get followers on media. I'm not using them for anything. I'm teaching Christianity because of when you look around our environment and you see the grave consequences these people are doing in our environment. When you look if you go to the jungle, if you study the ways animals live in the jungle, you will discover when every animal lives its natural life is weaponized against other animals outside that species. When a particular species live in their culture, when a particular species takes the normal life existence in their culture, their normal life and fight for survival is a threat of life to other animals that is outside that species or that culture. So when a lion lives his normal life, just trying to fight to survive, he's not trying to be wicked. You discover the antelope are dying, the buffaloes are dying, the deers are dying. You now discover when the buffaloes begin to take their normal cultural ways of life, you now discover even the lion is dying. You look at the crocodile, when the crocodile fights to survive, the fishes inside the rivers is dying. This is just how nature make it. When a mosquito fights for survival, a female mosquito bites you because it needs the protein from your body to fertilize its egg and reproduce. So when a mosquito fights to survive in his own natural state of culture, human beings is dying. And you don't shy away from it because you as a human being, that you have a good meal today, you discover you have gone to a restaurant, you have eaten a goat, you have eaten a cow, you have eaten a chicken. This is life of organisms. This is life of animal that we are exterminated for your own survival. So a fight of survival for a particular species is a direct threat of life to other species outside that particular culture. And this is how human life is. When the Westerners live their normal life, automatically their fight for survival is a direct extermination of life to people in black. And when the black race take their normal culture is direct attack and direct threat of life to the survival of the West. And nature actually designed this way because life and death is intertwined. And what every species fights to is to preserve their culture, because their culture is the only thing that will sustain their survival. And so when you look at the Christianity, you discover Christianity is actually, like you hear Christians speaking and they tell you that Christianity is not just a religion, that Christianity is a lifestyle. They are not wrong. Christianity is a lifestyle. A lifestyle is people's way of life. We know that people's way of life is their culture. So if Christianity is actually a culture, the next thing it becomes, culture is made up of three features. Number one, a people. Number two, a place. Number three, a body of knowledge. And so if Christianity is a culture made up of a people, the first question becomes, which people, which culture of which people? Number two, which place is the culture established? And number three, what is the body of language corresponding with the people practicing it? And so if you pick Bible from the beginning to end, you discover this is the culture of the West, which live on exploiting other human beings. And so when Bible is just a manual of colonization, a book a man wrote and believed that this is how I'm going to oppress my colonizers, and then giving the colonizers consolation to accept that. So when you open the Bible, you begin to see Psalm 2 verse 8. The Bible began to speak. It says, ask of me, and I will give you nations as your inheritance. Ask of me, I will give you nations as your inheritance. Somebody in England have opened that part of the Bible, and when God says, ask of me as an inheritance, the man remembered Nigeria. He have asked God, and God has given him Nigeria as an inheritance. A Britain man opened that Bible, ask of me, and I will give you nations as your inheritance. God has given him Ghana as an inheritance. A man of Belgium has opened that Psalm 2 verse 8. Ask of me, and I will give you nations as your inheritance. The man remembered Congo. So it's a culture of forceful ownership of land. And when God have promised you to give you nations as your inheritance, the first question you should be asking is, the nation he's giving you, is it not the land of people? Is it not human being living there? It is the culture of forceful colonizing and exploiting of people's race. And so when the man is going, the man carries the Bible as the word of the colonialist to his colony, to give the colony, to make the colony feel relaxation in being exploited and manipulated. And so I am of the organic resolution to reinstitute people our own culture. Because if you watch the technology, if you come in the physics of the universe, you discover man is the apex of the food chain. And the reason why man is at the apex of the food chain is because man does not only hunt, man breeds. Like the lion who just want to eat other animals. But man want to eat and want to reproduce. And then you begin to study the technology towards which man used to reproduce every animal. If a man want to reproduce any animal, the first thing he does, like he will first reproduce his culture. Because no animal can exist outside the culture. When a man want to reproduce a fish, the first thing he does is that he begin to create a pool of water. And not just the water, he will saturate the water to correspond with the water that will survive the life of a fish. If a man wants to rear a goat, the first thing he does is he creates a culture of a land full of grasses, so the goats can eat. When a man wants to rear a cow, he creates a culture of grasses. When a man wants to rear anything you want to rear, if you want to rear a monkey, you make up trees. Any animal you want to rear, the first thing you do that you will reproduce is culture, because any species taken outside this culture is death. Any species taken outside its own way of life is extermination. And so you discover when a human being want to fight the existence of animal, human being fight mosquito by altering the nature of the culture of mosquito. A mosquito exists in a swampy area, in a dirty environment. And so when you are fumigating this area, the first thing you are doing is that you are creating an environment, a culture that is against the sustainability of a mosquito. So you're not even fighting the mosquito one-on-one. You are only fighting it by altering its culture. So when we are talking about reviving culture, we're talking about a man fighting your culture is fighting against your own ways of life. And I'm going to give you maybe just 16 important points why I left Christianity. I just 16. And that 16 will be I'll be taking them from even scriptures. Number one, when the colonialists left nations to colonize nations. They wrote Bible, which we correlate with their own selfish interest and then serve the purpose of exploiting their colony. And so you now see the vexing Christianity does in a people when the colonialists give them, that it anesthetizes the people and creates docility. Anesthesia means making people unconscious. Like a doctor wants to operate on somebody, the first thing he does, that he throws anesthesia on the patient. So when the patient loses consciousness, you can take any organ you want to take from the body and he will not even know. So when a Christianity enters your land, the first thing he does is it anesthetizes the people. To anesthetize the people is to make them defenseless, to make them no longer react to weapons of attack against their life. And so you discover when the Bible is writing, all that is writing is to make the people to be unconscious and defenseless. You see in Romans chapter 12 verse 19, he was speaking, he says, avenge not, vengeance is of God. That means this culture is actually treating people, telling people that I know I am coming to manipulate you, I'm coming to beat you, I'm coming to enslave you with gun, but avenge not. Leave vengeance for God. Vengeance it belongs to God and only God. So it's a culture of deliberately making people. He was speaking, he says, if a man slap you on your right cheek, he says, turn your left. So it anesthetizes the people, makes the people to think that accepting pain is a proof of our humility of service. And so somebody comes and kill your father. The person says you should find your mother and give the person. If a man slap on your right or your right cheek, give him your left. Somebody came and rape your sister. The person says you should find the junior sister or your wife. If a man slap you on your right, turn the left cheek so the person to give you another slap. And so you discover this culture, what it does is that it makes the people defenseless. And so when things that are supposed to make the people to react, to defend themselves, it makes the people to accept death as the God's will or God's agenda for them. And this is very, very terrible, because when a society accepts death, they are headed on a project of annihilation, extermination. So you can see him speaking in Philippians. He says, to live is Christ and to die is gain. Which means that this culture makes the people to accept death as a benefit of serving Christ. To live is death. To live is in Christ, and to die is in gain. That means we are no longer afraid to die. If Fulani herdsman come to work out today to kill us, he says even if we are in Christ, we accept it. So number one, it anesthetizes the people and creates docility. Docility means a people that can easily be controlled, people under control, because they have lost the consciousness of a death knocking on their door. They have lost the consciousness of death, like literally death coming close, looking directly into their face, coming to exterminate their life. You can see him talking in Proverbs chapter 3 verse 5. He says, if your enemy is hungry, give him food. If your enemy is hungry, give him water. If thirsty, give him water. He says, as you are doing this, you are pouring charcoal of fire upon his head. He was just creating a pathway by which you will love your own enemy. But the man went back to his land and built a bomb. You think he built the bomb to play. You are joking. The day he will touch any of his own people, he'll come back and he will demolish everybody in your village. He knows he doesn't give his own enemy water. Neither did he give his own enemy food. But the colonialists need the culture to come upon your own life so that you can be anesthetized. Number two, Christianity.
Before you go to number two,
okay,
I believe that those things are noted so that, because I don't interrupt you.
Yes.
But I want us to take it one after the other.
Okay.
Okay. You say that Christianity anesthetized us and everything. Let's use that illustration for example. The doctor, you go to them for an operation.
Yes.
That means there's a need.
Yes.
You don't just go to a doctor for them to just anesthetize you.
Yes.
They don't just pick you and say, come, there's a need.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So that means let's establish that there's a need here. You want a doctor to operate you. Okay? And as they've injected you that thing and they took what they want to take, you know that if you wake up and you see that what they are doing did not work, you will not recommend somebody else and you will not come back. Okay? Because I'm talking from Christians' point of view.
Okay.
This is people that their fathers have said, follow this way. You get? And then nobody is a fool, because I want you to make me understand why somebody would recommend what is not working. Okay? These people have come and said, okay, follow me. And you follow and say, they are not using guns.
Yes.
They're just using the holy book. Okay. They're just saying, come to church. They don't even come to you and say, you must come to church. So I want to understand how the anesthetized. Was there a need? Because I've just established to you that somebody doesn't go to the hospital except there's a need. Do you agree that there was a need? And then that need made us give them the attention, the audience, for us to be anesthetized. And I want to understand how they anesthetized us. What is the use of force? I want because there's somehow a use of coerciveness on doctor. Lie down because doctor wants to treat you.
Yes.
You came to, so I want to understand that use of force that they used. Go ahead, please.
Okay. When you say number one, you say the reason why they anesthetize us. The reason why they anesthetize us is for the purpose of unchallenged exploitation of our resources. Because somebody knows that if I come to your land and told you that you have oil in your environment, in your land, and I come to bring it, the anesthesia I mean here is not a surgical operation. I just use it as a word to make you to lose consciousness.
I understand.
So when somebody comes in your land and I said he anesthetized you, what it means that he took your consciousness off from what you have, so that you cannot come and fight him to take it. Or
by talking, right?
Yes, by ideology. The biggest anesthesia on earth is ideology. There are somebody that came to fight you through spoken words. You can use your spoken words to neutralize his ability to fight you. So human being mind is a collection of how the inflow of knowledge available to them, how they reason. And so what they did in the anesthesia, I mean, is to program the mind of the people to accept death, to accept that the things they have no value, that there is something actually precious elsewhere beyond what they have, that there's another place precious beyond this place we find ourselves.
But here, the Igbo man was never afraid of death. Even if the Igbo man, when it comes to the Igbo cosmology, Onwo is not because I am an Igbo was never afraid of. So what do they even do differently that you are so after them about death? Because I know what you're saying. It was Paul that actually told them that to die is gain and to live is for Christ. Yes. Okay. So the Igbo man was never afraid of death.
No, an Igbo man is never afraid of death. Neither did an Igbo man want to be killed. There is difference that we are living a normal life. As I'm sitting here, I'm not afraid of death. But at the same time, I don't want anybody to come here with knife and cut off my head. Okay. So if you are giving me an ideology which is built on my early extermination, my early going to grave, that is where the issue becomes. The issue is not that we die. We know that the reason why we are alive is because somebody died yesterday night. If people don't die, people won't live. It's like eating and shitting. If you don't shit, you won't eat. And if you don't eat, you won't shit. Those things are connected of life and death. So we're not afraid to die. But the type of anesthesia I mean here is to make people to lose consciousness of their life and their environment. You can be alive and dead. When you have something and an enemy came to take it from you, you may be alive looking at the person and the person, you are already dead. Because when your consciousness is no longer targeted at what you have and somebody is exploiting it, you are dead. So what I'm telling here is that it makes people to lose consciousness. I'm not talking about that of killing them. It makes people to lose consciousness of their value so that they can easily be exploited. That is it.
I follow your teachings a lot.
Yes.
I love some of the things you say, but I just want you to balance what you're saying. Here is an interview.
Yes.
This same Bible that you are using as a case study said, "With long life will I satisfy you."
Thank you so much.
Is there for Bible? You get, so you could say that some parts I will agree. This same Bible that you are quoting is say, "By my stripes you are healed." If somebody wants you to die, they will not be saying that you are healed. Somebody will not come and say, "Lazarus, come forth from death." Somebody will not come and tell you that I've conquered death. Even self, one thing about Christianity is that is the hope of that they've conquered death, because their Savior Jesus Christ said that he has conquered death. So now you're now making me to understand that Christianity is using that same death that they say they have conquered, they have conquered as a tool to make you afraid, which is what I don't agree with.
Christianity,
clear me, please.
Christianity is the biggest instrument of mass murder and killing.
Okay.
And that is why in Bible, if you read Bible with contextual understanding, you will discover God in the Bible give people assignment to go and clear off a nation. And when we are talking about that God came to give you life, I look at you and I laugh. It simply means that you are a man who read the Bible with limited understanding. And I'm going to clarify you this afternoon. If you enter in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 15, you will see where God is giving Saul an assignment. He says, Saul, go to Amalek.
Yes.
Kill off all the men. Kill off all the women. Kill off all the children. Kill off all the oxen. He says, and preserve the virgin girls for yourself. So it was an assignment or a project that goes to people's land, wipe off the people's land. The other things you are telling to the people does not matter. As long as the people, you came to the people to exploit their resources, whether by fighting, whether by negotiation. Once we came with this culture, the first thing it will do that it will wipe off everybody. You can see in Jericho, Joshua 6 verse 17. The Bible was talking to Joshua. It says, Joshua, everything in Jericho, whether human being, whether oxen, whether animal, it says must be destroyed. But when you finish destroying everything in Jericho, he says you must make sure that you bring the gold, the silver, and the bronze into the temple of God.
Yes.
Because when you hear God, the problem is when you hear God, you are still thinking that God is a force living anywhere in the sky.
Yes.
God simply means an acronym of government of the day.
Yes.
There is nothing like God in form of a personality.
Yes.
So when the God is so obsessed about the gold, the silver, the bronze, and the diamond of the people. So when he was talking in Joshua chapter 6 verse 17, he says, when you finish massacring and killing all the people in Jericho, he says, bring the gold and the temple and all their silver to my house. Anaesthesia, I mean, is not just killing of the people. Anaesthesia, I mean, is knocking out the consciousness of the people so that you can easily manipulate them. That is what I'm talking about.
Thank you. I'm not trying to defend with Christianity. I'm coming from the angle that you are using the Bible. So I'm using the Bible too.
Yes, you are free.
You get
this is a conversation.
So
yes.
I'm not here to represent anybody. I'm just saying you are. If you tell me that some part of the Bible say this, I'll not argue with you. But if you say that it is general, I will tell you that inside that Bible, this, I think it was the 6th commandment or so that say, thou shalt not kill. This is a commandment from that same Bible.
When you tell me that God said that thou shalt not kill, and the same Bible is showing you where God himself used his mouth to give people assignment to go and kill, what does that mean?
Contradiction.
What does that mean?
Yes.
So do you now defend that he is not that he doesn't kill?
Yes, come from the point of contradiction that you can say that Bible is contradictory. Wonderful. But don't say that don't establish the fact that there are some places where their same Bible say, don't do this one.
No, what you don't understand, that Bible widens the gap between what we speak and what we do.
Okay.
So when somebody tells you this, he goes to do something totally different.
Okay.
He says, Bible says, do not kill.
Okay.
This is what you speak.
Yes.
And you are not seeing physical action when God is empowering people to go and kill. So what they speak in Bible is direct opposite of what they say, not contradict. The difference between that I speak and I contradict with another spoken words. This is speaking and this is action. God
never physically did some of these things.
Wait. I'm telling you, he gave them a direct order. He says, go in 1 Samuel 15. Go in and kill everything in Amalek.
Who was he talking to? Saul.
Saul. He says, destroy all their men and their women. That was how he also
talked to Moses and said, thou shalt not kill. Is that same talk?
No.
My own is that
he talked, but the other people acted.
Yes.
So this one is action and spoken words, which are direct opposites. So what they say is opposite of what they do.
Everything that God said in the Bible, there was nobody he gave knife and say, go and kill. You still talk. So this thou shalt not kill now. It was still Moses that he said, thou shalt not kill. It is part of the 10 Commandments. Let me ask you a question. Okay. You say you followed Joshua Selman.
Yes.
And then Michael Oro. And then this person was your icon for 8 years.
More than 8 years, yes.
More than 8 years. Okay. Does that make you a rebel now?
A rebel how?
Like, you are now preaching against what you have followed for more than 8 years.
I'm not just preaching against it. I'm calling for total weed off.